Welcome to the Lounge with Travefy Academy, where we get to hear from travel industry voices and experts to learn more about their story and what they see on the horizon for travel professionals. And I'm Stephanie Grice, and our guest today is Martina Holbrook, who is travel advisor at UPAC We Plan. So welcome to the Lounge, Martina. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I know. Oh my gosh. So even in our past conversation, I keep saying how excited I am. I've been wanting an episode about TikTok forever. So I'm so excited that we found you. But before we chat all things TikTok, can you tell us just how did you get in the travel industry?
So I would say, I think it was about 5 years ago, I started with just like a crazy love for Disney. And so I went out looking for a job where I could help people plan their Disney trips. And from there, I found out that the agency that I signed on with actually has like a sister agency, which is UPAC We Plan. And so they're all owned by my same agency owner. But I found out how much I really love planning other types of trips, not just Disney. And that has just brought me down this wonderful little path of travel planning. And I just love every bit of it.
That is awesome. That's super cool. And spoiler alert, if you go to your TikTok channel, you can see how much you love everything because I've already delved into it. And I'm sure many people after this will as well. And I'll make sure to include the link to go to your TikTok channel too in our article. But the question, one of the biggest questions is, how did you get into TikTok? So you've been doing this for a few years, but how did you get into TikTok?
So, as silly as it sounds, I jumped into TikTok when I got COVID. So, I came back from Cancun, and a couple of days later, I had gotten COVID. It was when we had that really, really bad bout of Omicron back then. And I was like, I didn't feel sick, but I knew I couldn't go anywhere. And so I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to start making some TikToks. And that was only about 6 months ago. And I just, fine tuned my videos to what I knew worked well, what I saw worked well. I did a lot of research, and that kind of grew to, what I have today.
That is so cool. That's really awesome. And oh my gosh, I think TikTok boomed. I know it was really popular before, but I feel like for just different generations, like our millennial generation, then really got into it. Like it was COVID, and that was the same thing for me. And I was like, I'm not going to look into this. And then I started getting on TikTok, and I was like, oh my god, I'm addicted in a very good way. I feel like it's fun. I love TikTok, and on that, so I have not made any videos. And what did yours look like? Like when you first started, what were you like? How do I do this?
So I was very scared to post my own voice on TikTok. Everybody's very scared of like getting made fun of on the internet. And I totally, totally understand that. And so it started off with just me, using like trending sounds and like putting information around my, like in this space over here, I'd fill in information and things like that. And then from there, I got it in my head that I was gonna do it. I was gonna make a video of my own voice, like talking about a resort that like I just loved. It's one of my favorite all-inclusive resorts. And that video just went viral, just blew up. And from there, I was like, okay, well, that's something that works. That's something that people want to see, they want to know about. And I was able to like get a bunch of questions in the comments on that one and make more videos just based on what people wanted to see. And so it's just been like a revolving door of like content after that.
That is so cool. So how do you come up with it? Like, were you just doing photos and videos that you had first, and then were you using different, like, were you like kind of mimicking what you saw other people did, and you're like, I can do it this way with this theme instead, or?
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, starting off, it was just kind of like trending, using trending sounds that were on TikTok that I was like, well, I watched that video all the way through on some other creators platform. So if I make something similar, maybe people would be interested in seeing it. And so you just kind of got to try things out. And then, from there, you just grow and learn and see what works.
That's really cool. And a quick question for you is, what is your favorite TikTok video that you have on your channel?
Oh gosh. So I think my favorite one, My all-time favorite all-inclusive resort is Breathless Riviera Cancun, because it's such an upbeat, fun resort. And so I made a video with like pictures that I took. Oh, here comes my puppy. Sorry.
Oh,
Um,
nice. I love.
of like pictures that I took, and it's just me talking through the resort and everything that's there to offer. But like you can tell how real it is because it's one of my favorite places. And so I love that video just because it's so authentic, like so genuine of what I like to do and what I like to experience there.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what is your overall success look like? Like how long did it take you to start seeing, results, or what did that timeline kind of look like? Because when did you start doing TikTok again?
I started, I would say probably right around January. Well, I guess it was the last week of December is really when it was, because that's when I had COVID. So
Of 2021?
2021. So I've really been doing
Yeah.
it consistently for about 6 months. And it started off relatively slow, but once I really got the hang of what I was doing, it was growing by like the 10,000s, and that's crazy. And now I just yesterday hit my milestone of 100,000 followers, which is just crazy.
Wow. Oh my gosh, congrats. That is great. See, that is the coolest thing. When I remember when you said you were, because I was like, I think it's only been 6 months, and that is so insane. That's not that bad. Just stick consistently with it, because a lot of other social media channels, I feel like you have to be consistent for like years before
Uh-huh.
you see anything, which
Yeah,
is
like a YouTube channel.
crazy.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Well, and that's what you'll hear TikTok gurus and crazy people being like, "Oh yeah, you have to be consistent and you have to post 4 to 6 times a day." What? That is
That's a
not
lot.
realistic for anybody who has a life and a job, and if your job's not like social media management, then you don't have time to do that. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. You know what I mean? Like I will post maybe once a day, maybe once every other day, and the success is still there. And so I just think people need to keep that in mind too, that like consistency is key like you said, but it doesn't have to be insane consistency.
Mm-hmm. And what do you have so I wonder if some are listening, they're wondering how maybe this turns into new clients and leads. So what do you have on your channel currently? Like, how do they usually reach out to you?
Yes. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. What I do, and quite frankly, it's probably an old school way, but I just have like a link tree. And so it goes in my bio. Once you hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, you can put a link in your biography and people can click on that. And so I will normally in my videos like guide people. Like I'll say, if you want to work with me or if you want help booking this trip, there's a link in my bio. When they go there to click on it, they have a form to fill out, like to fill out a consultation to work with me. And so from there, that has all the information I need to work with them. And so it produces a higher level of like turnover in terms of actually getting clients.
Yeah, that is just so cool. It makes a lot of sense, honestly, when you're thinking about it, seeing things visually, videos, knowing that this person is an expert in this. So really, really cool. And well, we kind of have already been talking about this, but what should advisors listening know about utilizing TikTok? Like, is there anything? I mean, I know there's like a lot, but basically, when it comes to like equipment you use, or is there anything that a thought process that you should have when going into it?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. In reality, I use my cell phone and I have a ring light. If I'm inside, I'll use my light. I have it behind me right now. But I will use it if I need it, if I don't feel like the lighting's adequate. But other than that, like it's normally just natural sunlight. And that's great lighting. People want to see that. And if you have good lighting on your videos, that's going to make a huge difference. People are going to want to watch. Good sound, good lighting, but it doesn't have to be professional. It just needs to be a phone. You don't need to go buy a super fancy camera to record these because that takes away from what you're trying to do, the authenticity of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and what's really cool is you mentioned like a ring light. Like those are actually pretty affordable on Amazon, or even like a tripod to hold your phone or to put your phone in the ring light. You can do
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and mine will go with me when I travel if I feel like it would be beneficial. So I just throw it in my suitcase. And I also have like a little one that I can normally hear. I think I have it right here. But it's just super, super tiny.
Oh, yeah. That's so small.
Take it as you go, a little tripod. It also has a light on it too, but So it was super cheap. I think it was like $5. So
See,
anything like that just makes it super easy because people don't want to see a video like shaking, but that holds it steady and super easy.
yeah, that is really cool. And what about when it comes to like editing? Like, how do you edit those videos, and how long does that usually take?
So it can take a while if you are not completely familiar with it.
Yeah,
I will
makes
say
sense.
TikTok just had a new update with a new editing system that's very intricate. And so it makes things a little more difficult. But in reality, it takes me probably, I would say, 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the style of video that I'm making. And so it really just depends what you want to go into it. But it's just a lot of like cutting and putting things together and then put words on the screen. It's not too difficult at all, especially once you get the hang of it. So just be patient with yourself as you learn to do it because it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah. And when you started, did you just have I because so you weren't doing it necessarily live when you were at a place, because we're so familiar with, like Instagram stories and things, and usually a lot of that's live content. But the great thing
Mhm.
about this is it doesn't have to be live, and it won't make it'll make sense that it's not live. You don't have to be there. So were you just thinking in your head like, "Oh, I should focus. Let me go find all the photos and videos I have of this place and use that." Is that kind of what you do?
Yes. So I knew when I went to Cancun this last time that I wanted to make some sort of TikTok out of it. And so I went with that mindset of getting like smaller clips to put together to create something. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to create out of it. And I ended up creating a lot of different things out of it just based on different styles of videos and seeing what worked. You know what I mean? And so um, it really just, yeah, like I pulled a bunch of stuff together. I even had to dive deep because, you only can travel so much. And as a travel advisor, that's what you want to show on TikTok. I had to
Mm-hmm.
dive deep to when I went to Punta Cana a year ago and what videos I could splice together from there. And like, you just do what you can.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that's yeah, and that's it's so cool. It's kind of fun almost probably to go back and look back, and you can do little spices. So because that's what because I remember seeing some of yours. It'll be like a full overview of resort, and sometimes it's just about one piece of it, and so you
Mhm.
can make so many videos out of like one thing, which is so
Yes.
cool to me.
Absolutely. Well, and I even had the ability to like make a TikTok story recently, just kind of asking people because in about 2 weeks, I'm going back to Cancun to visit like 6 or 7 different resorts and just, really learn about them and make content out of them. And I was able to ask my followers, like, what do you want to see out of these videos so that I can prepare and make content that people are going to want to see. And I got a lot of really good insight out of those that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So just, it's really cool to have a community like that.
Yeah, that is really neat. And I'm sure too, all advisors listening, if you get to go, you have travel coming up, how much fun is that to be like, I'm just gonna take a bunch of, videos and photos. I'm not sure what I'll do with it yet, but just do it for content. I think that's really awesome. Love
It's
that.
it's so awesome, and my boyfriend's so sweet. He always goes with me, and he'll get his phone out too, and he's ready to be a part of it. And I'm like, I love the support.
Yes.
You got to utilize everybody with you because somebody's bound to get a great video that's going to be a great addition to your TikTok.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, that is really cool. So you can get it from all angles.
Yeah,
So you have different
exactly.
views, different, yeah, it's
Exactly.
perfect. That is so cool. And you're not taking much with you to do that. That is what is so
Right.
awesome. I love the idea of using TikTok. It's so cool. But I know a lot of people, even myself, I'd be like, where do I start? Where do I begin? And it's also scary putting yourself out there. So what would you tell other advisors who are scared of jumping into TikTok?
It is scary. I understand that it's scary, and I know that sometimes people are not nice on the internet, and so a lot of what I do is just kind of like monitoring my own comment section. So I know you and I had talked about this prior too, but there's actually a way to filter comments. You can filter based on like words that you deem negative or inappropriate. So, like, this sounds silly, but I just didn't want to see anything of this nature. So I would filter words like ugly or bad or things like that because that was something I was concerned about. And so it made me feel better and more confident to post my content, knowing that none of those words were going to be seen by anybody else. And I didn't even have to see them if I didn't want to. You know what I mean? And that made me feel so much more confident. And then you can actually filter all comments. So if you can like choose which ones you want to be posted so other people can see and which ones you don't want to go through. And that just gives you the ability to feel 100% on what you're sharing, because at the end of the day, you're the expert. If you're sharing it on TikTok, you're the expert on it.
Yeah, that's really important because it is really scary, putting yourself because and I know we're at this point we're really used to, Facebook, and a lot of times people have to find you anyway, so you feel more confident about sharing stuff, and Instagram's like all photos, but TikTok you're like, "Oh man, it's a very wide audience who's seeing this, and I don't know who's going to be seeing it." So that's really cool. And it's good to know that you can control things, which is just kind of a good mind, peace of mind,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, and I really love what I love about TikTok is that it thrives on authenticity. Like people, it's not like Instagram where you have to have a picture perfect photo for someone to enjoy it or like it. Like you could show up literally without having your hair, makeup done, anything. But if you have something cool to show people, they're going to want to see it. And I think that makes such a huge difference. Like just people are so authentic on this app. And I think that can provide a level of comfort too, just knowing that people overall want to see you succeed on TikTok.
That's true. It is a authenticity. I am having a trouble with words today. It's very authentic though, and maybe that's why TikTok is so. Because I always tell people like I feel good when I get off TikTok, honestly, like because it knows you, so it'll really the algorithm's just pretty good, and you'll start getting to people that make sense, which is pretty cool
Yeah,
about it.
absolutely. And that's how I think, I gather a lot of my client base is that like TikTok sends me to people that are looking to take vacations, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And TikTok just recently has become more of a search engine, if that makes sense, in terms of like what you say in your videos, what you put in the comments, what you put in your caption, all helps people like if they search that. So if I type like all inclusive resort in my caption, that's a video that could potentially come up for somebody who put that in the search bar, kind of like a Google search, but my video will pop up. And so it's it's always moving forward. It's
That's
crazy.
so cool. It's like it's vacation TikTok or resort TikTok. I
Yeah,
love that. And you use hashtags too, right?
I do. I use a lot of hashtags, and that kind of goes back to what I was just saying. They are always, it's like, I think it's called like keyword optimization or something like that. But it's just kind of turning into how YouTube and Google are, where like if you search something, you'll find a video on TikTok that has that. And so, like, I'm pretty sure my videos, like, if you type in breathless Riviera Cancun, because that's some of my most popular videos, that's like first to show up when you type that in the search bar. And so, that's just how TikTok full circle brings people around.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, that is. Oh, I love it. It's so good. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else missing from that you'd like to share about TikTok, or anyone that advisors listening should know about, or anything like that. I mean, we covered a good amount, but
We did. I would just say if it's something you think you're interested in, why not dip your foot in and give it a shot? Like you have nothing to lose and you have a whole lot to gain. There's a whole lot of growth that can happen within your business if you make that jump. So,
that
give it a
is yes, that is so well said. Is the fact that there's nothing to lose and everything to gain, especially now. I think it's like the best time ever to get into it is right now.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
100% agree. You can't go wrong. And even if I guess I would even say like I've made a lot of mistakes in terms of like, oh, I mispronounced something. But you know what? You wake up tomorrow and you make a new video and those people forgot about it. That's not, you know what I mean? It's just not the end of the world because there's always more content to be made. Always.
Exactly. Yes. And the $1 million question here is where can we find you at on TikTok? Would it be called a handle, or would it be like
Handle.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay.
So it's at M Tina Travels.
Perfect. And I will put that in our article too for this. So everyone can
Perfect.
go to that.
Yeah.
But So I have something else for you here. So we like to do rapid fire questions, and I
Oh
didn't
gosh.
mention this to you because yes,
Okay.
it's always I always like to be like, hey, wait, we're not done yet.
Uh-huh.
I love this. So it's just travel questions, really quick, rapid fire. But if you, I think there's how many are I have six of them, so six questions. But again, they're not hard. They're great. They're fun questions.
All
So
right, let's
are
go.
you ready for this challenge? Are you ready to
Yes,
go?
let's do it.
Yes. Okay. So first one is what is your favorite travel movie?
Travel movie. Oh
I
gosh.
stumped you already.
I don't even know like what do you mean travel
Well,
movie?
okay. So for example, Eat, Pray, Love. Love that one. That's a
Okay.
popular answer.
Okay. Well, I think it's called Bucket List. I love
Yeah.
that one because there's a lot of like going and trying a bunch of new things in different places that like you wouldn't even ever think to do.
Yes. Is that the Jack Nicholson, Morgan Freeman one? I
Yes.
love that one. It's so wholesome. I just
I,
watched that like a month ago and I was like, I love this. Just bawling.
I
Like,
know,
it's just like,
I
this is so
know. But
good.
they get to do so many cool things and go places and try things that they never would have thought of otherwise.
Oh, so awesome. I know I can't say any more because I'll probably spoil it for people who haven't seen it. It's such a good one. Okay, so this one is what is your favorite destination you've traveled to?
Oh gosh, I absolutely love Cancun. And people get on me about that because they're like, Cancun's great, but like there's also so many other places that I'm like, I know, but Cancun is so great.
Can't mess with something that's already perfect, you know?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's incredible. I sell it a lot because people love it. It's can't go wrong.
Yeah, you really can. And so here's kind of a twist to that question is what do you think is the most underrated destination to visit?
Ooh, that's really tricky. Um, so I think I guess I don't know if I would say it's underrated, but I don't think, and I know there's also, controversy gambling here right now, but I think Hawaii, like all in all, there is so much to do, so many things to see there that you can't do it all in one trip. And I think in that aspect, I think it's a pretty underrated location. Like, yes, everybody is like, oh, wow, Hawaii, but like, there's so much going on in Hawaii.
I could totally see that because I do feel the same way. Like with a lot of times, if people think tropical, they're gonna go like Mexico, all inclusive, and that way. So that does make sense. And
Yeah.
Hawaii got a lot of visitors during COVID. So I wonder if that kind of got ignited of like, wow, Hawaii's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the food, everything there is just so cool. The culture, everything. So, yeah.
Love that. That's cool. And so you mentioned food. So what is the best meal you've ever had while traveling?
Oh gosh, I am not a good person to ask this question because I am so, so picky. And straight up, the only thing you're going to hear from me is like hamburger or chicken tenders. Like, I'm
Nice.
so boring and it's
Traditional.
terrible. But I do know because I have a lot of clients that like to eat good food. There are some like incredible restaurants at like Atelier in Mexico. Unico is a resort known for their like crazy good food. And so while I'm not a good answer for you, I know that there are some really good food options out there.
That's all right. No, that'll work. Yeah. I Hey, there's a lot of people who think the same way, so it's probably refreshing to hear that for people. They're like, "Oh, good. I'm the same way." Like,
I hate it. Like I've worked so hard to become more open with my eating, but you know what? I eat what
right.
I like. So
Yeah, exactly. Respect that, you know?
yeah.
So, okay, so this question is what is the last great book or article that you read? It doesn't have to be travel related either.
Ooh, gosh. I read I read young adult fiction. That's not
Nice.
really a good thing. Um, I don't know. I feel like I've totally bombed these rapid fire
No, they're
questions.
great.
I don't I don't know if I have an answer for you.
That's all right.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of. I read. It sounds ridiculous, but I read a lot of articles, a lot. So I don't know what the most recent
Well,
one
what
is.
about your favorite resource for articles? Like, do you have a favorite site or
Ooh, well, I'm looking through
You're like,
my
oh no, let me see.
search history because I search things. A lot of what I search is relative, not, I don't want to go down this path right now, but I've done a lot of research just based on, changes that have been made this past week with
Oh yeah,
things like that. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish
that's
I had
okay.
an answer for you.
No worries. Hey, that's good though. You're staying up on what's happening for your clients. So
Yes.
makes sense.
Well, and I think that's a tricky question to ask too, because a lot of my travel information comes directly from like suppliers that
Yeah.
email and keep me up to date, but that's not something that you could necessarily like go and Google. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's a lot of information that I read that way that I'm like, I love that, like I've gotten some new resort updates that I think I'm like really excited about, but they're not necessarily like something you can Google. So
Yeah. No, makes total sense. But I have one more question for you. So, okay, so the last question is, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while traveling?
oh gosh. Okay, so I don't know. I don't want this to scare people from travel, but we were in Punta Cana, and I was actually with my family, me and my boyfriend and my mom and dad. And we decided, we didn't really think about it, and we got a taxi and we went to a nearby resort that had a casino. And I didn't really think about the fact that it would be dark out like when we were coming back. And I always, try to set my clients up for success in terms of like, hey, like you just probably, depending on your comfort level, want to be back at the resort by a certain time, you know what I mean? Or have like a planned excursion. Well, I didn't follow my own advice and we just took a taxi. And on our way home, it was like pitch black, and out of nowhere, we pass a guy that's just like sitting on his motorcycle, and like and dressed in all black, and like all of a sudden I hear my taxi driver like say something about like oh shoot, and then he just starts like driving really fast, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. And then we made it back to our resort. It
Oh
was
my
just
gosh.
crazy little situation. I don't know.
That is crazy. It's so scary for the taxi drivers that like are have to like ah.
Well, yeah, and if you're in a set excursion, like you're very safe. I always pre like set my clients up for like, I can never 100% guarantee your safety, but we can do a lot of things to set you up for success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These resorts are gated communities and things like that. So you're very, very safe. But I left property. I made a silly choice. And then I was like, oh, yeah, well, probably won't do that again. Okay.
Yep. I know. Yeah, I mean it's like that anywhere too. Like, once if people know you're not from around there, you're vulnerable. It's just you're vulnerable and so it makes sense.
Exactly. And that's what I always tell my clients. I'm like, I mean, things could happen to you in Chicago, things could happen to you in City, things could happen to you in, Texas, things could happen to you in Punta Cana, they could happen to you in Cancun, anywhere you go. And so
Yep.
you just have to be smart. And I always tell my clients, like, you're at an all-inclusive resort. Don't take drinks from people that you don't know, because you can just go get your own free one. You don't need to take drinks from people. You know what I mean? And so it's really just setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I think it's important because I mean that is the beauty of using a travel advisor too, is to give you that information and be like, "Hey, I've stayed here many times and it's great. Just don't go down, this make sure you're back, don't go around, the area, this area, certain area, it's just
Yeah,
the expertise."
just having the firsthand experience of like, I did this, don't be me. don't
Yeah.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
mess up so we don't have to. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got it.
See? Oh man, this has been great. I just have to thank you so much again for giving us a glimpse into TikTok. Like I said, I've been waiting for this because I always, if I were a travel advisor, I would get into this because this makes so much sense. It's so awesome. And it seems like it's really fun too.
It's so fun. Oh, it's so fun. I love making videos.
I know, it's so cool. And thank you so much again, Martina. This has been really fun. And thanks everyone for tuning into this episode of the Lounge of Travefy Academy. And thank you again to our special guest here today, Martina, for joining us here today. So exciting. And check her out on TikTok as well. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of the latest episodes. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation today and join us again. But for now, stay safe and we'll catch you on the next flight.